Bandits kidnapped dozens of travelers along Kaduna-Kachia Road. Gun-wielding bandits on Friday abducted scores of travelers along Kachia Road in Kaduna State in a broad daylight operation. Sahara reporters learned that the victims were taken away from the vehicles they boarded and escorted at gunpoint into the forest. Photographs seen by Sahara reporters show how several empty vehicles by the roadside as other motorists who got to the scene wondered and expressed shock at the whereabouts of the victims. Kaduna has in recent months become synonymous with kidnappings, ranging from abductions of school students to villagers and motorists. The security agencies have also not been spared in the onslaught. Sahara reporters had on Tuesday reported how gunmen suspected to be bandits invaded the military barracks of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Kaduna State, and taken away a herd of cattle in the early hours of Thursday. The incident happened around 2 a.m. as the gunmen arrived at the barracks and started shooting sporadically into the air to cause panic in the army community. Though the exact number of cattle stolen could not be determined, an eyewitness had told Sahara reporters on Thursday evening that the cows would not be less than 100 in number based on previous experience. According to the source, who spoke on condition of anonymity for security reasons, the cattle were owned by army officers. He therefore expressed shock that the barracks could be so porous for bandits to attack without any form of resistance. The source told Sahara reporters the first time it happened was last year and that about 400 cows were taken away by the bandits in what he described as a bloodless attack on the barracks. He, however, said that some of the animals found their way back to the ranch. The Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji in Kaduna State, is a training facility for the Nigerian Armed Forces, including the Army, Air Force, and Navy. Oh, all right. I mean, again, this is not surprising because, again, Kaduna, I mean, these are like the states that, of course, Borno is like the epicenter of everything, but, these are like the upcoming states when it comes to the level of insecurity. And now it's now very much scary because, again, you can't really travel on these roads. I mean, this is in broad daylight, and I guess that's sort of, okay, we know broad daylight operations do happen, but of course, this it's not as rampant as, day as night activities. So of course, this is like daytime where it's less likely, or the probabilities are low, and your stress levels will probably be lower as well, because you don't expect that you'd be stopped by bandits. And this is very much sad. The first comment here says, there is peace in the north. We thank God for the peace he has given us in the north. Anybody who wants one Nigeria division will be disappointed. Voice of Arewa. The person put an emoji which sort of shows that this statement is a sarcastic one. Someone says, Northerners suffer most in the hands of these failed government, yet they defend them with their last energy. Yeah. Someone says, tomorrow they'll blame it on Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB. This is the language the North understands. I mean, I don't know how it is, because for the northern people, they've been through so much. I genuinely think that nothing really scares them anymore. I'm not really sure, because these things have happened, and maybe their desensitization to all these attacks is different from the way the South is desensitized to it in a way. Not necessarily desensitized, but because these things happen constantly, obviously it is sad, but then it's not as intense anymore in terms of, covering a lot of, ground in terms of, the reach and news of it, and panic, to be honest. And of course, if the government is not reacting and trying their best to curb the situation, then, you can't expect other regions that are, relatively kind of more peaceful to, take it into their own hands and be like, no, let's fight for this. And of course, this is very much sad, but at this point, it's the best thing is just not to travel there. But then I guess for the people that already live there, they will. I mean, it's been how many years? More than 10 years since Boko Haram has been attacking such areas. So I guess that they know how to, find their whereabouts and find their way through where they live. But you just advise that, if you're based in the southern part of the country, just don't even go to the north at all. There's literally no point, no matter what it is. I mean, your life is literally more important. Somebody here says that bandits kidnap dozens of travelers along Kaduna Kachia Road. Again, Boko Haram mocks Nigerian army, attacks Yoruba community, kills policemen, burns UN facility, and others. The IPOB formed ESN against herders whom they accused of grazing on farmlands and committing crimes against local residents. Army chief lands in Imo says troops must redouble efforts against IPOB members. UK recently granted asylum to IPOB, which Nigerian government tagged terrorist. Be the judge. That's it. Be the judge. Somebody here says, if this man can't fight insecurity, he should resign for a competent person to take over. We are tired. Nigerians are tired, but then again, if you say resign, that you're basically you suggest that okay, it's a voluntary action. It's not like as if he has no control of it. If he wants to resign, he actually has to want to resign. But I think that it's so hard because the way the country is set up, we can't just decide that okay, fine, Buhari leaves. The process for impeachment has to go through these several layers of government, and it's just more complicated than it is than to just say Buhari resign. It's obviously harder than that. And of course, the people that are in these key branches of government where they can actually push for his impeachment are of course on his side because they also benefit from whatever they're benefiting from, obviously being corrupt and nepotism and all that. So yeah, that's it. Somebody here says Buhari and his APC administration is making all Nigeria available for kidnappers instead of making petroleum available for all Nigerians. There is God. Look into our problem and see how Nigerians are kidnapped in Nigeria. And see how Nigerians kidnapped Nigeria. Oof, that's a different one. God is there service citizens of Nigeria. I don't know if that sentence makes sense, but I understand what this person is trying to say. I mean, it's very much like, who do we call to help ourselves? Who do we call? I mean, we are the only ones, yes, that can help ourselves theoretically if we try to, make anything work. But again, it's like, when it comes to a place of power where we put somebody there to take care of us, as in that is their job, who can we call on? Because again, the government is very much, closed-minded to whatever is said and all that. So again, this is obviously sad, but I mean, at this point, the advice is to be safe. Just if you're from the south and the north is not necessarily your place, or even for any reason, I don't know, it has to be a very good reason for you to want to go to the north. Even if maybe you should take a flight, not necessarily by road. But then again, it's like, not everyone can afford to use flights. That's it. Put what you think about this, and do not forget to like and subscribe.